Hello, and thank you for joining us in 2024 at Finding the Healer Within. In this episode, you will find a conversation between Houston Aztec Massage and Wellness Claridad. We'll be speaking to Energy and Vanessa about their new collaboration this year of doula and sobadora slash curanderismo services for any women that are trying to get pregnant or in the process of getting pregnant. So take a look, and I hope you enjoy. Peace. Hello, and thank you for joining us today at Finding the Healer Within. We are here today with Energy of Houston Aztec Massage and Vanessa of Wellness Claridad. And they're both going to be introducing a new collaboration here in Houston that I personally have never seen before, but it's going to be a collaboration of these two women who, have a massage company and also a doula company where they help people who are pregnant during and after pregnancy, which is very important. So let's go ahead and get into it and get a little bit of insight into each of y'all's businesses and how you guys run things. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah. So Wellness Claridad is a women's health services company. I really started it as that, looking for my purpose, looking for ways that I can support women. And it really grew from being that doula for my sister-in-law, and then also just wanting to continue expanding when it comes to thinking about services outside of doula support, thinking about yoni steaming, thinking about placenta encapsulation, all of these things that are, more tied to like a traditional route, but still having that impact, still having that connection to self, connection to body. So for right now, it's that's a bulk of the services, a lot of prenatal birthing support as well as postpartum support, ensuring that moms are, well versed when it comes to the birthing process, as well as everything that comes after, ensuring that there's support, ensuring that there is that like communal support for the mother. And I'm really excited to be partnering with Inerea, with Houston Aztec Massage, and all the great things to come when we combine both of our knowledge and the wisdom that we've accumulated over the past years.
So what I bring to the table is a lot of the connection and the spiritual and the emotional and also the mental and also the physical, right? How curanderismo could come into collabing with the doula. It's a very beautiful connection. I have the knowledge in helping women. I've worked with a lot of women who have been having issues with coming out pregnant. So I see women who need womb work, right? Levantada de matriz, to closing the hips, to dealing with someone who's had an abortion, women who've had cysts in their womb. A lot of those that work, I've already been working with a lot of the women like that, or trying to conceive, trying to have a baby. And it's like, okay, we're gonna start these therapies, and like 2 weeks later, they're like, I might be doing that. I'm at my appointment. I was like, well, we're gonna have to skip this appointment and allow you to be pregnant because that's a possibility already for you. And they're like, wow, they're so excited. So like, the way my type of work in massage, because it is more of curanderismo than just regular massage. I have been working with women who, from the point of wanting to come out pregnant to their whole journey of what it's like to even have your first child or second child, because every pregnancy is different, different emotions, different feelings, different journeys, different points in your life. So there's so many different things going on with each pregnancy. So I've worked with women throughout their whole pregnancy, and they're still coming to get work done, whether that's spiritual work or just massages. And then also postpartum, after once they have the baby, how to closing the bones, closing that era of, okay, we have already have the baby here. Now it's time for me to also close off my energy with you on your journey, and still be here and give them tips and things that they can use in our traditions or in Mexica traditions, how to take care of themselves properly, to help them through the whole mental of what their bodies went through, and things. So I think it's really important to collab, especially for the people, for the women in our community who do want to reconnect to their roots, reconnect to how to take care of themselves in that way of connection, with the baby, with themselves, with their partner, and it's a beautiful tradition that our culture um, have, but it's being lost a lot of the time because of the whole hospital thing and medical and all that, which is perfectly fine too. Everybody has their own ways and paths, but there also could be a possibility of even doula work going into the hospital and being there, and granderismo still being an option for that. So that's what we're kind of like bringing in together, and then a collab to women who want to have that connection with their roots.
That's awesome, because a lot of women that I've talked to, like a lot of my friends have had kids and things like that. And I'm more of a holistic kind of person. I've always been that way. Like my mom always would help me do things with herbs and things like that because I was so sensitive to regular medicine. But I've always had that mentality of like, stay with the natural. It's always going to work, But I've always had people tell me like, oh, that's just old wives' tale. And I'm like, okay, but putting vapor rub on my feet and putting socks on them, my nose doesn't hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do me. But there's some people like you were talking about the placenta encapsulation, and which is very important. It has a lot of nutrients that we just kind of throw away. But with this kind of collaboration and connecting back to roots, do you guys both see like a little bit of pushback from people with certain ideas? Because some people are, happy with having a doula as their as a person that'll help advocate for them inside of the delivery room. But how important is it for these women to see the connection to their roots with each of y'all's different modalities?
I think it's about education. So the more that you know, the more you have the ability to make an informed decision. So if you have that knowledge and, someone is sharing that with you, you understand, then you're able to make sense of it and be able to make the decision of what works for you, your body, all of in your life. So I think that that's, number one is education, ensuring that there is equal education of, the benefits and the risks across everything, across the board for everything. And I think that is how you keep people informed and you ensure that despite what I would do for my body, I'm ensuring that we're doing what's right by my client and by what they believe and what they, hold to be true. So I think there is that like knowledge sharing, but also respect of I respect your wishes. And at the end of the day, I'm here to protect you, your mental health, your, emotional stability and whatever works for you. But here's just some additional information in case you didn't know. So I think it's that kind of approach.
Yeah, for me, I agree with her. I think it's very important to be informed. What everything that a mother can expect, especially when it comes to giving birth at a hospital. Too, even just with that, what are your rights, as well? A lot of us women, for myself, as my own experience, because I have children, I've had different experiences at the hospital, and at that time, I wasn't practicing these ways. So there's things that I now see through my healing journey that is like, I understand what was missing a lot in my life today, but we cannot change that no more. So it's important to bring a child into this world, carry a child in your womb and be prepared into what are the best decisions that you can make for you and your child. And then have that support, that full full on support emotionally, mentally, like she talked about, and just education, the laws, things like that, Vanessa brings onto the table is all of these laws that that protect women of color, and it's so important to be educated so that you can make the right decision for yourself, so that you can be happy at the end of your healing journey of becoming a mother, whether that's your first time, whether it's your fifth time, but having the best options for yourself. And it's just so it could be a beautiful journey for the person.
Yeah, definitely for everyone involved, including the child, because the child we can inherit trauma. Like Elena was telling me with her experience of having children, is that there was a lot of trauma connected to just being in the hospital and having children. But that in and of itself it's not enough to just have doctors and medicine, because at the same time, they are very busy. It's a hospital. It's where they're dealing with a heart attack as well as children being born. And that's just kind of a lot of energy floating around in the same space for these children to come into, and personally, I was born at home. My mom had me and my sister at home. And that to me was like something really special, because I think it contributed to me looking at it in a different way and not seeing it so much as an illness and more of like, oh, this is such a wonderful thing. Like
that is a beautiful to hear that, like, you were special enough to like be born at home and not at the hospital like everybody else. Like that itself is healing in itself. So you're right. This is why I also wanted to collab with Vanessa, because I was like, imagine everyone who comes in and is doing the healing on themselves from their mother wound and their father's wounds and their traumas and stuff. Like, we want to create a space to where we're bringing in, helping assist the women bring in life in a very healing way already. So instead of us adults healing, we're bringing healed, like,
into the womb.
We want to create babies that are already coming in healed, like not having to carry those things, and the mother healing through those ways too. And imagine like how great it would feel to like be in a space like that, to know like I'm making the best decision, like, even though regardless, like any of the decisions that we make, we're never gonna be perfect, right? Like no matter what, because we're human. But at the time giving, like how beautiful that would be, right? So
yes, definitely, especially with two different modalities. Like a doula in and of itself is like a daunting job. Like you kind of have to mediate between the doctor and and your client. But with what does that doula support look like when you input the curandera and sobadera support during and after, and sometimes before the pregnancy? What would that look like for someone who's looking to get into that?
Yeah, I'd say it looks like what was, traditional. You have this group of women, you have this support system, this like community in which you can rely on. So that's like, the concept, right? Like we have this team, and in this way, it's like, yes, you have the doula who's there to read you your rights, to, develop the birth plan. What makes sense for you? What are you interested in? What is the, desired environment that you want to bring the kid in through? Like how do you picture that first? But then also taking the time to really work within yourself. And I think that's where like we'll call on energy's expertise to really come through and prepare these women, right? Like, where are they spiritually? How was the last birth? If they, have had a birth before, or if they're having, this is their first child, how are we then thinking about their mother womb? How are we thinking about those pieces? That all play a role, right? Like we're multidimensional. We have so many different aspects of ourselves. So we really want to take the time to ensure that we're addressing those pieces and addressing them to the best of our ability. So I feel like it becomes this like multidisciplinary team of like, here's, both the doula support, but also the curandera support, thinking about all of the different aspects, because there's so many different services that Enerea like brings to the table as well. So it becomes like multifaceted, I'd say.
Nice. Yeah, kind of like a community, like you were saying, a community effort, where you take care of one aspect of it as a doula, and then energy you would take care of another aspect, which is more, being, making sure that the mother is in the moment and able to help the baby transition, in such a beautiful way. But what would that look like from your standpoint, energy? Like, what would be your
I think
way?
my goal would be to connect the mother to the baby, to create that bond. I think it's special. It's a very special, like, experience to carry a child, what it feels like, what a woman's body goes through while she's pregnant. Um, and it's creates a special bond with the child, and each child is different and it's a different experience. But I think for me would be specifically to be there for the woman, because for me it's like a woman is going to go through a battle, through a whole ceremony itself, with giving birth. And so, and it's just being there spiritually for them. Because even, we thought about the package, where I could even be there from afar, even virtually, be able to be there in a system, even from afar. Because there's going to be times where I'm probably not going to be able to go into the hospital. So we thought about different ways where I can continue to bring the services in, even if it's by far, virtual, through the phone. So there's different options that you can create this emotional support, even through different ways. But yeah, it's all about making sure that the mom feels safe, feels heard, feels valid, feels secure and ready and prepared, because you have to be mentally, physically, like, ready. Obviously, the baby does most of the work but yeah, creating that bond, for me, it's like number one, because there is going to be a lot of healing after the birth. A lot of healing does happen through it while the birth is happening, and creating a beautiful space, kind of like ceremonial for the mom, for the baby coming into a sacred space, like we talked about maybe they don't want to give birth into a hospital because there's different energies there. There's a lot of things going on. Maybe they want something more private. Maybe they want something in their home, and creating a sacred, cleansed space for the mother to be prepared to go through this battle. And so that would be like my goal in this.
Nice. And would you also, does that also mean like healing the person even before they get, like you were saying, even before they get pregnant, like helping them just, you can do it pretty much, offer support throughout all the stages of pregnancy, like before, if they're having a little trouble getting pregnant, and then during that time, and then during labor, and then afterwards. So it's pretty much, these packages can, you can pretty much make your own and take what you think you need for yourself. Is that pretty much?
Yeah, that's how we're thinking about putting packages together, where they can choose from different things they want to add on, where they can extend their options, different price ranges, things that they feel fit, or they could always add on as well, different services and stuff. So, yeah, so just having those options for women, different packages for women, for sure.
Nice. And yeah, like you were saying, with creating a bond between mother and child, and that healing that a woman has just by watching their child grow, and like seeing the changes, and then you start having epiphanies, I'm sure, because even as an auntie, I've had epiphanies, and I'm like, oh wow, these kids, they can teach you stuff. You just gotta watch them. It don't have to be years, but but in that way that you do that, in bringing in a healed generation of babies, with connecting back to your roots and making sure that your energy is good, that your health is good, and you're mentally and spiritually stable. What? How long does that take? I'm sure it depends on the person, in and of themselves. But are you guys able to extend that time with your clients and say, well, you need a little bit more time for this. Let's create a different plan, or is it just like kind of concrete? Like this is what it is. This is what we offer, and that's it. Or how does it work? Go ahead, Vanessa.
No, I think it's very customizable, and I'd say, a big misconception is that postpartum is only the 6-week period after you've given birth, but that's not true. They say and it varies, right? Some women it's a year, some women it's 7 years after giving birth that you fully heal, fully come back into your, who you were prior. And you're still, never going to be that same person. But I think that we're definitely open to being super, personalized, depending on what the person needs, depending on how their support system is set up. It could be a situation where, they have a partner who's supportive and they have their family, but they just need a little bit more support and structure and how to really ask for support, how to really get the family to see how to be there for them, bringing meals, coming and helping clean up, not just going and seeing the baby and then leaving, and just really setting like a precedent for how your family members or your friends can really be there to support you. I think there's, so much to be said about that. And that's not even accounting for women who, may just have their family, may not have a supportive partner. So I think we can expect to see all different types of women and find ways to best support them. But it's super, variable. And I think that it's really meeting the person where they are. And like Inade said, like really connecting with them, building that trust to understand, hey, here's something that you probably don't think you need, but we think this could be helpful. Or here's how, we can support you. And I think we'd also be open to feedback too, like really learning from them of what they envision and building something together. So I think it would definitely be more customizable. We'll have like set packages offerings of like, if you want X amount of support across prenatal, birth, and then postpartum, or if maybe you already had the baby, but you would like some postpartum support and preconception, thinking about getting pregnant, what are things that you can plan for? I think it would be, very customizable and something of, this is a woman who is looking for support. How can we support her?
And then also, we talked about having resources as well available for them, in case Vanessa and I are not able to provide any of those services that they're looking for. We're able to look into resources to have for them, and and kind of lead them towards excuse me, towards different people in our community as well. That we know how they work, and people that we trust as well, that because it does take a community sometimes, like how they say it takes a village to raise a child sometimes, and so that's what our goal is to continue to create a good community for people, to feel safe, to feel like they have enough support, and have that help that they need at that given time. But yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, especially because, like you say, you guys are. It's not just you two; it's all you and all the people that you know,
Right?
And that you yourself had. You've known them for the years. I'm sure, different people that you yourself trust, and you're like, this is a good person, that you can go to, and that's
we've
why.
already. We like connections with people through our path as well. I mean, I've been doing this professionally now about 14 years. I think this year is going to be 15 years, actually. Wow, that's a long time.
Well, what about behaving? You guys have been both doing it for 14 years, or
No,
you've been doing doula work?
I've been doing doula work. I was trained and certified in 2021. So it's been, yeah, almost 3 years. And it really started from me just thinking about myself. And, I think I would lean more traditional, wanting more of that home birth. And I was like, here's a way to get educated. So I did the training and didn't really use it initially. And it wasn't until my sister and my sister-in-law got pregnant that I was like, oh, well, I have this certification. Like, let's see how I can help y'all. And that just really had me jump into birth work and learning so much. I think the Houston community is really great. There's a lot of great doulas, birth workers, and they're all just willing to share information, willing to help support each other. So it's been a really cool experience. And then, of course, connecting with Energy and us having this overlap. And, Energy has really great dreams too in women's health. So I'm just excited to see that flourish for her as well. But it's definitely like a great environment here in Houston, especially as doula work in general is getting more notoriety across the country. Insurance is starting to cover doulas in certain states. And so I think we're really at a tipping point. So it'll be really interesting to see how this impacts women over time. What are the benefits? How does this kind of empower women to be informed and make the right choices for themselves? And, there's even an uptick in home births at this point ever since COVID. So there's a desire. It's coming across in stats and, just the day-to-day conversations I have with people. So it'll be really exciting to see 5 years down the road, what does maternal health look like?
Yeah. I see a lot of growth. I see a lot of growth in this. Especially recently, I went with Vanessa to a open house or something with
the networking event.
For the networking event for people of color and people in the community of Houston. La raza and things like that. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of resources and stuff. It's just a lot of us don't know people and stuff. So we want to bring those resources to people, information to people, and so that people are aware there is help, there is insurance, there is, these medical things. And from what I hear and what I seen was, there's probably going to be a lot of growth in bringing, or our goal is to bring in more of this type of cultural healing for our people through insurance, because I think a lot of our people, would want to have the actual option to be like, oh, do I want to go down this holistic way, or do I want to go down the Western medicine way? And then either or, it's like, I was telling a person there too, it's like, I also see people that I feel like they need that Western medicine help to balance them in the physical. And so it's important to find a balance. So, but to have options for the person to make, like Vanessa said in the beginning, to have the best decision for themselves when it comes to their health and their balance, that's important. That's important. We should have an option to either, find a holistic, this type of cultural healing, or, going towards the Western medicine, because it feels more like we've been having to be forced to go down that path.
And that alone.
Yeah. And then sometimes that's not even what we truly want. And so it makes us unbalanced. And then so I mean, I'm just excited for all the growth and stuff, but also to your question about what other options they would have, for my business as well, I see people who come see me for even after postpartum too. So there is other services that I have on my business that people can go and see, even if you already had a miscarriage 2 years ago. Even if you've already had a baby, you've never had your bones closed, and you're having like these issues and stuff, like they are able to reach out to me and ask me questions, and helping them to get the best service that for them. And if it's something else that they need, then again, I can, give them a resource so they can go and see someone else.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just with your experience alone, having 14 years of like being in contact with people, knowing and understanding, different parts of the body, not only based on your knowledge of anatomy, but also physical touch and like, just having that experience is wonderful. But then combining it with, like you said, a doula like Vanessa, I think you guys are going to just, in 5 years, I just see you guys being like the top tier collaborators, but in the sense of like if people want to contact you, can they contact just Houston Aztec Massage by themselves to get a or to get like a consultation with both of you, or how is that going to work?
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah. So we plan to have it, be a mutual platform. So it could be either or. It could be coming through Houston Aztec Massage or Wellness Claridad, but wanting that collaboration of both doula and curandera support services. So that's how we kind of see that working out.
Right. So having both of our conversation together, if it's going to be a collab, if they want to have birth and curanderismo into the doula working together as a collaboration, there's definitely going to be like either like group text or things to where we're both going to be there for the person, and we're both going to be knowing what's going on with the person who's contracting us for this type of support.
And that's awesome. That's so beautiful because like, what do you all feel about like the importance of bringing about a healed or in a healing way, bringing a child forth? Like, I know for me, like just growing up with parents who have suffered as much as they did, just being immigrants and, just existing. But like, through all the trouble that they went through, I learned a lot myself. At a young age. And then when I grew up, I was like, all right, I got to sift through this trauma, see what's going on. And then after sifting through that and like finding some balance after like not really understanding, being confused and stuff, do you think that these children coming in to this world in a healing way, is that going to offer them like a new enlightened way of being, do you think? Or do you guys see like good things coming for those kids that are born in such a healing way?
I think it's really beautiful. It makes me want to come out pregnant again. Makes me want to have another child. I think, just with the bond that a mother creates with a child, like that in itself, there's so much brain development in a child. So now we're talking like scientifically as well, physically, in a child's brain, how it develops, how the baby connects to the mother while she breastfeeds the baby, that bond that creates. And that's something too that I want to really bring, that me and Vanessa talked about, how important it is for me to, make sure that the mother is well educated as well, how important it is to breastfeed, and even if you cannot breastfeed because of the time, because of work, have a different way to be able to create that time, or even still give the baby breast milk because of the brain development and everything. So if the child is already being bringing into this world where this baby is feeling safe, where this baby is feeling connected to the mother, and then if the co-parents there and creates this, of course, the child, his brain is going to be so focused on all the love and all the safeness. Like, can you just imagine, like, then a child coming in and the mother's not fully educated, doesn't know about what's going on with her. Why is she having postpartum depression? Why is she pushing away the child? Like,
Yeah.
even in that confusion of the woman, the child is feeling those things, and so creating these awareness to the woman and the mother, and because sometimes that happens and we're not in control of,
Yeah.
what's going on with the mother. Sometimes there's something that triggered her while giving birth. And so like it's going to be different. It's going to be different with everyone. So it's about making sure that we're there for them so that they can feel supported and heard and help them through it, because I feel like it is very important to bring a child in that safe environment. I think it will bring a big difference to the world to be able to create more births this way. That's my opinion,
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think that it's been noted that, you know, all of everything that you feel when you're pregnant, your baby feels, right? Like those emotions, like all of that, it's something that they experience. So if you're able to create a space where you're holding space for that woman, right?
Right.
Like that's what Energy and I are essentially doing. We're going to be holding space for these women and allowing them to have a safe space, allowing them to create the safe space of their dreams for their birth. And really putting that intention behind it, I think does make a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in the birth. It makes a huge difference in that connection. And the less trauma, the better, right? Like all that we want to do is continue enhancing the lives of, the kids to come, ensuring that there is that awareness, that there is that education, that just, it's yeah, it's an expansion, right? Like it's an expansion of awareness and of an understanding of, this is the beauty of motherhood, the beauty of childbirth, really shaping and getting away from the narrative of like, this is fear, like you need to be, oh, you're going to get an epidural because it's going to hurt so much. And, there can be such a negative connotation that really like strips away the rights of a mother to like enjoy childbirth and enjoy the connection, enjoy that essence of becoming a mother. So yeah, I definitely feel like it would make a difference. I definitely think that, you know, Energy and I would really do everything in our ability to ensure that whatever a woman needs, we're able to support. We're able to really like nourish and care for her and the child. And it just, I don't know, like it makes me emotional to think about. Like it's such a beautiful thing. And I know that this is really like shifting the narrative of what is like common. You saying that you had a home birth, that is not common. How many
Yeah.
people have you come across that are like, oh yeah, me too, like,
Right. But once I met, people like Energy, just getting a massage from her was amazing. Like I couldn't walk before. And then when I came out of there, I was flying, it was crazy.
wow.
But I can't imagine being a pregnant person and like, if you guys are pregnant or thinking of getting pregnant, I would go with them and, just get a consultation, even if you don't know if you have enough or like, just try, just go and see what you can get from, 14 years of experience with Houston Aztec Massage, and also being a doula is no small feat, that's a lot of work, in and of itself. And for your, sister-in-law and for your own sister to trust you in that way, to me is
Yeah.
massive, So you guys, I know you guys have great experience, individually, but putting that together and offering these things to people is going to be massive, I think. But do you guys, we've centered everything pretty much around the woman because that's where everything comes from. But do you guys also offer help, like for, let's say, their partner, if they want to be more involved, in facilitating more of that healing, or what would be their partner's, what role in the delivery room, or even before or after?
Oh, for sure. I think personally, if I was to be involved in the childbirth, um, I would for sure make sure that, they have that special moment with the child for sure. I think it's very important for the partner to be very much involved with the mom, because they already been having a bond together. So that's a special moment. It's a one in a lifetime special
Yeah.
moment that's not going to repeat itself. So you want it to be as special as possible. So most definitely, I think that's very important.
Yeah, I agree too. I'd say with my, with my sister and my brother, my brother and my brother-in-law, they were involved, and we had them, as we were having our doula meetings. But when it comes to other clients, I've noticed that there is like, the dad's kind of coming in and out. Like it's not as much of a like active role with the doula. But then when we're in the hospital, it's more of a, like, oh, we're communicating, and, here's what you can do. We'll move her this way, move her that way, like help, you want to teach them specific things. So it's really like if they're open, they're just in the conversation, like we're all talking about what it's going to be like. They're getting educated as well. So yeah, dads are always welcome. I think in my perspective, it only adds because now you have an even more supportive partner, someone who fully understands and isn't just like, scared, standing against the wall when it's all like happening. Um, so yeah, it definitely helps when you have that like active father who is very attentive and really interested in, supporting their partner and being a part of the birth and, doing everything that they can to be there. So, yeah, we love supportive dads. So yeah,
Dads, supportive dads or supportive moms?
partners. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Supportive partners, because it's definitely a community effort, and just I mean, I can't imagine like just the energy that a woman exudes from just giving birth, and having so many people to hold that space. You're kind of holding space in a storm because you're having all this energy rush through you because you're near everything, and I can't imagine what that's like. But with bringing in the ceremonial and the beauty of that ceremony into the birthing situation, that can look different in all kinds of settings like a hospital or home
Yeah.
birth. But how would you guys ensure that ceremonial aspect is retained, especially in a place like a hospital?
I think that's really where the birth plan comes, and you can plan as much as you want, but there can be situations, right?
Mhm.
Emergency C-sections happen,
Mhm.
especially in a hospital, or if you're in a birthing center, you could get transferred to the hospital. So I think
Mhm.
it's an understanding, what is ceremonial to this person, right? Is it the skin to skin? Is it ensuring that they have their moment as a family? After the baby's born, or, what are is it low lighting, right? Is there a way to ensure that, we're asking that, there's not more than the necessary people in the room, right? Trying to keep that like as a safe space. So I think there's a lot of different ways to keep it ceremonial, but it varies again, depending on the situation, depending on the birthing location, how the birth is going. But it really will be, a little bit up to fate, how that plays out, but ensuring that, these women are respected. And, as long as there's nothing dangerous, that we're able to, create that environment, maintain that environment, and protect that environment.
Right. Yeah, like for example, there could be restrictions, especially when it comes to the curandera going into the hospitals. I don't think I would be able to carry my smoke into a hospital. So, but there is different ways, like maybe turning on candles. Like I'm not sure if that's even allowed because it's fire. So there's going to be restrictions. That's why I said, for myself, being able to be the curandera there for them virtually from my home, I can still assist them. I've helped someone before in this way. And so just respecting their boundaries, but also because depending on the place that's being birthed as well and what's going on, which way they're going, which route, like she said, with faith, what route they're going to go on. Because we can plan as much as we want, but when it comes to pregnancy, that baby's going to be like, I'm ready. And you're like, wait. So it's just kind of going with the flow. We're going to go with the flow with the person and just letting them know we're going to be there, making sure that, we'll be there even if something happens, something pops off. We're down with you. So,
right. Down for the spiritual journey. Yes, definitely. Yeah, and that's beautiful because it's you guys seem fearless to me because you're just like, oh yeah, we're going with the flow. We're just bringing in a human being, ceremonial, like making it all happen, making sure you're comfortable, you're good, okay, we're good. But that just
tied together.
yeah, and just being a doula by itself is like is time consuming. Like people require a lot of your time as well as being a massage therapist because people are in pain all the time and stuff like that. But I know that you offer like monthly subscriptions, right, for your massages and things like that. So it's like something that people can keep coming back to.
Yeah,
and I'm sure as a doula, you offer like, consultations after the fact and making sure everything's good. But how long would that last in y'all's collaboration with the client? Like just pretty much depending on how much or how long they need you for, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think depending on how long they need us for, but I feel like it's kind of like this with my clients too, of like texting is, I think it's like you're available for questions, like you've built a bond with somebody. So it's kind of it's not just sort of like, it's done and you never hear from them again, like these are babies, these are like, children, and you've kind of like formed this relationship with them. So you do check in and just kind of see how people are doing. And, it can be months later, and it's not, I feel like it's not as cut and dry as like, a business deal of like, that's it, our time is up, but it's really like you formed a relationship with someone. So you do like check in, and it's, I don't know, it's a little bit different.
For me it would be like I do create these like this relationship with people, and like for myself it's been to where later on down the path, they see something like something's off about my baby. Like we've already taken to the doctor. We don't know what's going on. Like she's been crying nonstop. Like something's off, and I'm like, oh, just bring them in. She just probably just needs a limpia, and I work on them, and then they stay real sleeping the whole day. Like so I also see babies that they bring them in with the babies, or they'll stop, or they just want to stop by and say hi. So yeah, like there's always going to be that with the community.
Yeah, especially something that's so community oriented, like just having people be able to trust you with their child, outside of the womb. And then now you're just kind of transitioning a little bit deeper, going into that aspect of working with Vanessa as, just being a sobadora and a doula together, just supporting the community. I think it's something that's so beautiful with you guys. And I think it's going to be a wonderful and great thing to come in this coming year. But if, like, let's say somebody is about to have a baby now, how can they get in contact with either one of you?
Yeah, they can reach out. Wellness Claridad. My Instagram handle is there. We're available. I feel like we pretty much, are available via direct message or email. So that's a good way to get a hold of us. I think when it comes to, you're about to have a baby right now, like let's see what kind of support you would need, right? Like, let's see, when's the due date? what insurance do you have? Because for some doula services, for some Medicaid plans in Houston, I'm contracted to be able to cover. So there are ways that it can be covered through insurance for the doula services portion of it, depending on the insurance. But that would be something that we could look into as well.
Nice.
Yes.
What about you, Energy? How can people contact you?
Through Instagram or Facebook, Messenger, DM. And then I have my business phone number. Leave me a message if I'm not able to answer with like detailed message, and then I always call back whenever I get a chance at 832-507-7742. I will give out my phone number. I'm going to eventually have to get me a personal cell phone where I text for business. But eventually, yeah, like if they want to be serious, like, about bringing these services in, eventually, yes, I'll be texting back and forth, calling, phone call on a personal text message phone number at that point, and not just my business number. Because my business number, if I'm not in the business, I'm not going to answer, but eventually if they are going to be interested in buying a package or including us into their actual, like, whatever it is that they're needing or want, then yeah, for sure they'll have a personal contact number from me they can reach out to us all the time. Like I said, if it's going to be a collab, me and Vanessa are going to be collab together on text messages so that we can both be aware about appointments, about, what's the next step, when's the next visit, how are y'all doing, what, So it's going to be really nice. The packages that Vanessa and I have been working on, mostly Vanessa. They're really good. Like, it helps even with, we talked about dieting, about how important it is for La Cuarentena, which is a Mexica, belief, tradition, how important La Cuarentena is, and bringing in like a way of how, if somebody even wants to bring that into their package, so it's up to the person really what it is that they want, what they're interested, what they're not interested. They have choices. They have an option.
That's awesome. And I know that both of you guys are going to do a great job in this collaboration this coming year. You'll anybody out there watching will have Houston Aztec Masage Energy and Vanessa with Wellness Claridad to bring you the wealth of knowledge, not only with their modalities, but also just the kindness that they bring with their energy. But if you guys, do you guys have anything else to add that we may have missed? We talk about bringing in kids ceremonially, healing in a healing way in order for the mother to heal as well as the baby to come into an environment that's full of healing. We touched a little bit on both of y'all's businesses. Workshops.
So workshops to create little workshops to kind of talk about and go over what we are bringing into the community, and so kind of like educating them and if this is something that they might like, or maybe a neighbor, a friend, a prima, somebody that they know that might be interested in. And so making like little workshops to bring the education. For myself, I think it's important to have a doula come into Houston Aztec Massage and bring a community together so that she can bring some education into. I think it's very important to know your power, to know your own laws, your own protection when it comes to birthing a child, especially when it comes into going into a clinic, to going into a hospital, because you can have a bad experience sometimes with some doctors. Doctors don't respect sometimes. They just go in, assume that you don't know anything about your rights, and they'll just come and do what they want and pressure you into having a C-section. That I experienced that with my daughter. They wanted me to sign to do a C-section, and I told them no. And they were fighting me, and they were pissed. Wow. I wasn't signing the form, and I was like, I don't care. I'll die right here on this table. my daughter take me out. I give my life for her,
Right.
and then my daughter was also about to not make it because it got really complicated, and that happens, and so again, it was because they were rushing the process too, like they're on a time schedule sometimes and they're just like,
Yeah.
and so it's good for a doula, someone who is learning all of these, not only like just being there emotionally and mentally, but also how they get so educated in the laws and protecting women, like women's rights. And I think that's so freaking important, like, for a woman giving birth. And so I want to bring that, to the community that I already have that's following me, and bring it to the community, and something we can kind of put a little package together for them so that they can take a little goodie bag home with all this information and resources. And so we talked about bringing little workshops together for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's going to be so great. Yeah, so you guys definitely want to be on the lookout for any flyers coming up, because I will be sharing that information about the workshops because that's very important. And you guys can get a little bit of taste of, what Vanessa and Energy have to offer with their new collaboration this year. So thank you again, ladies, for the interview and for just all the work that you do, because you guys are amazing. You guys, you just help the world go round, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your time and for making this podcast happen for us, Adriana. I really love your work, and you are doing such a great job. Amazing mujer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I second it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.